Here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. All right. Hi, everyone. I would love to share with you what to expect in your first semester of grad school so you don't have to be anxious about starting grad school. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I am on Instagram, and if you are on Instagram, I would love it if you would DM me at the academic society _ because you are starting grad school soon, and I would love for you to tell me after this masterclass, what is the first step that you're going to do to help you prepare for your first semester of grad school? Also, while you're watching this, feel free to take pictures or screenshots, and if you post them on your Instagram story, please feel free to tag me in those. Okay, so let's make sure that we are in the right place. So this masterclass is for you. If you've heard that grad school is different from undergrad, but you don't know exactly how, I will be sharing exactly how. Or maybe you wish you knew exactly what you could start doing to prepare yourself for a successful first semester of grad school. And maybe you want to make a good first impression in grad school, but you don't want to come across as extra or annoying or overwhelming by asking a lot of questions. I'm going to answer a lot of your questions here today. All right, so at the end of today's masterclass, I will also share information about my grad school prep program. And so for those who are interested in the grad school prep program, you'll get this special training that's for action takers only. It's the Online Management and Success Plan. So basically, it's a training on how to handle online classes. I know that there are a lot of grad students who are really nervous about starting grad school, but also nervous about doing it online or partially online. And so here is where I'll walk you through like how to get organized and prepare for your online classes, what to do after your first day to stay organized and on top of all of your assignments. Also, I'll teach you how to build a productive weekly schedule for an online class specifically and what accountability measures to put in place to keep you on track. And so to get access to this, you will have to stay until the end. So let me know in the chat, are you in? Like, are you in for this presentation, this masterclass to learn all about grad school and then also learn more about how to organize and manage your online classes? I see a yes in the chat. Yes, I love when you're vocal in the chat. That is helpful for me. Okay, so I asked about your favorite TV show. Mine is Grey's Anatomy. I really, really love that show. I got obsessed with the show when I was in grad school. I did a summer research program at a different school and I had to stay in a dorm and I needed something to occupy my time. And I was like, why not start Grey's Anatomy? So I caught up in the summer and I've been caught up ever since. And Dr. Miranda Bailey is one of my favorite characters on the show. And so I have like a little competition for you. So what if Dr. Miranda Bailey had a competition and she wanted to give $1,000 to the grad student who feels the most confident and the most prepared for the upcoming semester? So if you were to enter this competition, how would you go about winning the $1,000? Well, there are a couple ways you could go about it. You could be like Lisa, who I'm calling the researcher. And so Lisa has no idea what to expect in grad school. She's pretty frustrated with the lack of resources and radio silence from her new department. So she researches grad school tips on Google and YouTube for any guidance. And that may be how you found me. She starts following grad school influencers. She's not exactly sure what to search for, but any information is better than no information. All right. So that's one way to go about being confident for grad school. It's just like researching all the things. There's another option. You could be like Lonnie. And so what Lonnie does is Lonnie uses the time before grad school to work on the skills that will help her succeed in grad school. She learns mindset techniques to reduce imposter syndrome. She reaches out to current grad students in her program to learn about the culture and community in her new department. Also, She learns how, when, and where she learns best to master time management and optimize productivity. She focuses on the things that will make the biggest impact in her grad school experience. So I would love to know, who would you like to be in this competition? Would you like to be Lisa or Lonnie? Let me know in the chat. Who would you like to be? All right, I'm seeing a bunch of Lonnies. Awesome. I want you to be a Lonnie as well. All right, so if you haven't met me, I am Toyin. I got my PhD in math from the University of Alabama in 2016, and now I am a lecturer at the University of Georgia. And I founded the Academic Society to help grad students in the ways that I noticed that most departments weren't really supporting their grad students. I started helping students with organization, time management, productivity, all of the like soft skills that are required for grad school success, but also are not taught in grad school. All right, so my grad school experience was actually pretty great. You'll see Caitlin in most of these pictures here, but if you notice our faces, we're smiling. We're not having a miserable time. We're actually enjoying our grad school experience. And so I really want you to enjoy your grad school experience, and I don't want it to become like a trauma for you. All right, so here is the thing. When I started grad school, I actually had a lot going for me. I've always been a super organized person who plans very successfully. I had done 3 undergraduate research projects and 2 grad school prep programs before I even started grad school. My mom, she got her PhD when I was 12. So I was able to watch her go through the whole PhD process and grad school experience. And she was able to help me and like share her experiences with me. And I had all of this preparation, but I still went into grad school not knowing exactly what to expect, but I had a good idea and like a solid foundation. But I noticed that my fellow grad students did not have the same preparation and expectations as me. They were like Lisa. And so when I started the Academic Society, I committed to teaching other grad students everything that I knew about grad school and identified the exact skills and tools that made me successful. Oh, my slide is not moving. There we go. All right, so I created an online community of grad students who desperately wanted to transition from being a Lisa and researching tips about the grad school experience on their own to becoming grad bosses like Lonnie, who know exactly how to set themselves up for grad school success. All right, so as I helped more and more grad students transition from Lisa the researcher to Lonnie, the grad boss, I realized that I had created a framework that grad students could follow to prepare themselves for the grad school experience. And so I named that framework the Grad Boss Method, and that's what you're going to be learning about today. And so by working through my Grad Boss method, you will learn about the culture and experience of grad school, how to transition from an undergraduate mindset to a grad school mindset, and learn how to organize and manage all the day-to-day tasks that come along with being a grad student. All right, so I help new grad students prepare for their first semester of grad school without feeling overly anxious about the unknown. All right, so let me know if this is you in the chat. You are hungry for any insight into the grad school experience. Does that sound like you? You are frustrated with the radio silence from your new department. Have you not been getting all that you need from your department to like tell you what's about to happen? And maybe you want to avoid the typical pitfalls that most grad students make in their first semester. And I definitely, even though I was pretty prepared, I definitely like had some pitfalls. I remember I got an incomplete in one of my classes in my first semester. It's a typical pitfall that most new grad students make, and it's totally normal to do that. All right, so my Grad Boss method teaches you what to do before your first semester so that you don't have as many stumbles. And so, what I've done is I've identified three big mistakes that are keeping new grad students stuck. So, I'm going to go through these. And so, you may want to take notes on some of these. You should have received a workbook. If you don't have the workbook, I'm going to ask Caitlin to put a link for it in the chat just so you have access to it because you're going to want to take notes here. Okay, so the first mistake I've seen is my undergraduate study habits and note taking skills will get me through grad school. A lot of us believe this when we start grad school. We believe that preparing and studying for grad school class will take the same amount of time and effort as it did in undergrad because our study skills have yet to fail us. These study skills are the things that actually got us into grad school. So, of course, they're going to be okay for actually making it through grad school, right? But if we've never taken a graduate course before or three at the same time, how can we possibly know what is required? All right, so here's typically what we're used to, at least what I've noticed from my undergraduate students is before class, there's really no preparation. You just get ready to go to class. And when you're in class, you engage a little more, you take notes, but then after class, you kind of forget about it. I call it the after class lull. And then maybe you get a homework assignment. So you get back engaged in the class and you work on your homework. And then you have that big test or big paper or big project. And that's when you're putting the most effort into your class. And that's typically what we do when we're in undergrad. All right, so here's kind of how it may go. So getting your first assignment in grad school, first you have to figure out, okay, you got to understand what the assignment is all about. Then you're going to review your notes and draw some conclusions from your homework. Maybe you'll read some supplemental material, go to office hours for help, finally actually understand what the topic or the assignment is, and then complete the assignment. That can be like 15 to 20 hours of work, which is a lot. And then you make a C on all after doing all that work, you still make a C because your ideas weren't completely fleshed out. And then that's just for one class. So, what happens when we have 3 or 4 assignments due in the same week? Can we afford to spend 15 to 20 hours trying to get that assignment done 3 or 4 times over? Hello, overwhelm and anxiety. This is how grad students start to get burnt out. So that means if you have multiple assignments due in a week, you're going to have to choose one of two things. You'll have to choose one thing to focus on or just give minimal effort on all of the assignments. And that's not really what we want to do, right? All right, so instead of what I showed you of what we're used to in undergrad, this is actually what grad school requires. There are no lulls here. There's no time where we're not engaged in the material, and it actually starts before you even go to class. I did not realize when I started grad school that I needed to prepare for class before class. I was just used to going into my classes, blank slate, taking notes, getting involved in class, and then moving on. But I noticed in grad school, the other grad students were actually reading before class. So maybe before class, it would be more helpful to do some pre class reading or take some notes for yourself. That way, you can actually be involved in the in class discussion and go more deep into what you're learning in class. And then after class, you're going to want to do some more reading and take some notes after class and maybe flesh out what you talked about in class. Then you'll have some homework, maybe you'll work in study groups, go to office hours, and then you'll have that big test or paper or project. And so notice that you're just engaging with the material more and more, and you're gaining deeper knowledge into the material. All right, so let's see how Lonnie would approach this. So we saw what Lisa did, Lisa the researcher did, but your first assignment as a grad boss can look completely different, right? So what Lisa did is start the assignment as soon as it's given. And this time she's just reviewing her notes and reviewing already developed conclusions and reviewing notes from supplemental material, right? So everything here is a review. She's not starting from scratch because she is already engaged with the material. She's already developed deep thoughts about the material already. That way she can go to office hours and actually discuss the first draft or first attempt of the assignment. She can consult with fellow grad students and then finally put it all together and complete it. And so this is actually for the assignment, maybe only 5 to 10 hours of work, which is way less than what Lisa had to do for that one assignment. And so Lonnie makes an A, even spending less time. Lonnie makes an A because she's been studying and building her ideas for weeks. And so let's just break this down with I'm calling this the 5-day assignment arc. So let's say it takes like 5 days to do an assignment. And we're starting with day 0. So before the assignment is even given, Lisa has done 0 work. But Lonnie has done the pre-class work needed to get engaged with the material. All right, in day 1, assignment is due. Lonnie doesn't start on it. But Lisa works on it for an hour to get her thoughts together, to come up with a game plan of how she wants to approach the assignment. Day 2, Lisa hasn't started yet because it's not due for a couple more days. But Lonnie already has an outline. Lonnie has started working, gathering things that she needs for the assignment, reviewing old notes and things like that. Day 3, Lisa realizes, okay, I need to get to work. Lisa starts working, but maybe gets a little stuck, needs to go to office hours. So she's only able to work for 3 hours that day. Lonnie works for 2 more hours to get continuing to work on the assignment that she's already started on. Day 4, Lisa's working 5 hours because it's due in a couple days and she needs to get it done. Lonnie works only about 2 more hours because she's making steady progress. Day 5, Lisa has to pull an all-nighter, working 7 hours just to get it all done. But Lonnie's just going over and editing and making it presentable to turn it in. So if you look at the total time of working on one assignment, Lisa starts too late and has to work 15 hours, but Lonnie starts way ahead of time and only works 8 hours on the assignment. And so this kind of brings me to this misconception that we think is true. We think that just because we work hard in grad school, that we're going to achieve grad school success. And it's not really how hard you work, it's how deep you are in the content, how deep your thoughts have been developed. And we really need the pre-work to be able to gain grad school success, because a lot of students go into grad school and say, man, I worked so hard on this project, all of these hours, and I still didn't get a good grade. And it's not because of the amount of work, it's because of how deep they thought about the project. All right, so let me know in the chat, who would you rather be? Would you rather be Lisa, who spends 15 to 20 hours on the assignment and makes a C? Or would you rather be Lonnie, who spends 5 to 10 hours on the assignment and makes an A? Haley saying definitely Lonnie. Yes. Sounds like a better experience. Yes, Toby, yes. Okay, so when you're consistently engaging with your course material, less effort is required to prepare for the big test or the big paper or the big project, right? Consistently engaging with your course material. So it's actually possible to prepare for more than one big assignment in a day without experiencing burnout. All right, so let's get to mistake number 2. I am not smart enough. A lot of grad students are worried that they're not smart enough to be in their program or that everyone else is smarter than them. This is a mistake. Do not think this, because actually it's not true. All right, we believe that we aren't as smart as our fellow grad students because everyone else has a stronger background. And I understand why you would feel this way because everyone's background is different. All right, so there may be someone in your program who already has a master's degree, or maybe there's someone in your program who has work experience and has already been working in the field, so they know all the terminology. Maybe there's someone in your program who took 0 time off of school. So Haley's saying, I'm worried about this one being an older grad school student. Yeah, right? So there's some students who have been in school their whole lives and haven't taken any time off, so that can be intimidating. Also, there's a student who has had the research experience. They kind of know what to do, right? And Haley says, a working adult and a mom of two. Oh, you're gonna meet Laura later, and she's a mom of two, a single mom of two, actually. Um, and maybe someone else went to a very prestigious undergrad. And so that's pretty intimidating as well. And maybe you're actually one of these people, right? And so other people are going to be intimidated by you. It's intimidating. Yes, definitely. So everyone deals with imposter syndrome in grad school. That is true. It's a very popular term. Everyone deals with it in grad school. And so, if you haven't heard of imposter syndrome, it's a psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their skills, talents, or accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. So, you fear that someone is going to find out that you don't belong in your program. That's imposter syndrome. All right, I have good news for you. Imposter syndrome is just a thought. It's just a belief or an emotion. It's not an actual disease, right? It's just in your mind. And we can change our thoughts. That is the great thing about our minds. So there are very specific mindset shifts that we have to overcome to be successful in grad school. All right. So, what we're going to do right now is we're going to go through this process of reversing a belief. So, let's say you believe that you should not be in your grad program. I'm going to walk you through this technique that you can repeat over and over whenever you're feeling like an imposter. So, first, you're going to identify the belief, you're going to create the opposite affirmation, and then look for evidence of your affirmation and then write down that evidence of your affirmation. So don't worry, we're going to go through each one of these steps so that you have this down and you can always reverse your negative thoughts. All right, so step one, identify the belief. So maybe your belief is, I don't belong in my grad program. All right. And then the next thing that we have to do is we need to create the opposite affirmation, right? Because when we believe something, we can kind of find evidence everywhere that it's true. So what we want to do is combat that by creating an opposite affirmation. So if we believe that we don't belong in our grad program, the opposite would be, I belong in my grad program. And so, what we're going to do for step three is look for evidence of this affirmation. So, what could be evidence that you could use to help you believe that you belong in your program? Well, you apply for the program. A whole graduate committee, not just one person, a whole graduate committee accepted your application. And then the whole graduate school for your university accepted your application as well. You didn't just sneak in, right? All of these people had to say yes for you. And so, number four is you're going to write down every day evidence of your affirmation. So, think when you're in grad school in your first semester, things that will show you that you belong in grad school. Maybe you complete a reading assignment. Maybe you're able to answer a question in class. Maybe you enjoy learning about the subject. Maybe you want to become whatever it is that you went to grad school for, right? This is evidence that you actually belong in grad school. And so by looking for these things, you can create a whole list of reasons that disprove that negative thought or belief. And so the truth here is that you're a grad student. Highlight student. That means you are not expected to have it all together, right? You need to be learning, so you don't need to know everything. In fact, you are not supposed to know everything. You're supposed to be learning all of the things. So keep in mind, you are a graduate student, and it's okay to not know things. All right, so you're in graduate school to learn. You shouldn't be a master already. All right, let's get into mistake number 3. My graduate advisor or supervisor will help me be successful. All right, we tend to believe this, that our graduate advisor or supervisor is like the end all, be all, end all, that they will help you graduate, right? Okay, so we believe that our advisor will provide everything we need to know to succeed in grad school because they determine if and when we graduate. All right, so things that your graduate advisor may help you do. Research development. They may help you publish papers. They will help you present at conferences. They will write you letters of recommendation when you are applying for things in other jobs. But what about these other things like administrative tasks that you have to do? Insight on classes, like which professors are more difficult, which professors test in a certain way. Or what about like the expectations of a grad student at each stage, or study tips, or useful resources? These things in yellow here are not things that your graduate advisor will be helping you with. So, who will help you with these things? How do you get the support in these areas if it's not going to come from your graduate advisor? All right, so there are actually more knowledgeable people that you need in your first semester of grad school. All right, let's get into these people because you need to know them. These are actually your fellow grad students, right? It's not just your advisor, you also need your grad students. So, in fact, there are two grad students that you need to build relationships with as soon as you start grad school. So, let's talk about these people and how to meet them. One, you need an older graduate student, so someone who has been in the program longer than you. And then you also need an accountability partner. And I recommend that your accountability partner is like in your same cohort or at the same stage of grad school as you. All right, so let's talk about the importance of knowing an older grad student. So I actually asked students in my Facebook group, like, what is something they wish they knew before they started grad school? And so this is what one student said. I wish I had realized the importance of having a mentor, particularly another PhD student a year or two ahead of me or recently finished. I figured this out after many unnecessary and unfruitful months of feeling like I was the only one feeling imposter syndrome, overwhelm, doubt, etc. They were also invaluable in helping know what to expect at each stage of the process, right? So, older grad student is very important. So, how do you get a grad student mentor? Here's what you do: you email the office staff or the graduate advisor for your department for recommendations. And yes, they will know exactly which grad student to reach out to because I was that grad student. I was always asked to maybe if we had a prospective grad student on campus to show them around. I was the graduate representative for my department. I was always mentoring other graduate students, and the whole department knew that. So the office staff or a graduate advisor will give you a recommendation of who to reach out to. So you're just not reaching out to the whole list of grad students and you don't know who's going to be helpful or not. All right. And so the second grad student you need is an accountability partner. And so you can set up a time each week to meet either in person or virtually. And you can set goals for yourself for the week with your accountability partner. So your accountability partner can help you set realistic goals each week so that you work on the right thing. This is really helpful to hold you accountable to get your work done, but also to help you set realistic goals, right? Because you're going to meet with your accountability partner. I recommend at least once a week, especially at the beginning of the week, to say what you're going to be working on for the week. And then at the end of the week, you can check in and say, actually, I didn't get all of the things done, or I did do this work, but I stopped working on this day. You're not going to want to go to your accountability partner week after week saying, I didn't do any work, because they're going to be doing work and they're going to hold you accountable, right? And that is the purpose of accountability partner. So you have someone to talk to so you don't feel so isolated, but also to keep you on task. So there will be days when you lose focus and lack motivation to get any work done. I would say in the first month of grad school, you're still very excited. You're excited to learn about all of the things, but after 1 month in, that's when you're going to start get tired. You're going to start losing motivation. You're going to start getting drained and start burning out. And you're going to need that accountability partner. They're going to help you get out of that funk just via the nature of your relationship. Like, because you're going to be meeting and working together, that will help motivate you to keep working. So your graduate advisor is definitely important, but there are other people you'll need when you start grad school. All right, so I can't stress this enough. building a grad school community is key, even if you are doing grad school online. Okay, so I'm about to share the Grad Boss method with you, but basically, there are a couple ways to become a grad boss, right? I believe that every grad student can become a grad boss. However, it may take longer for some students than others, right? Some students are going to be walking to the finish line, right? Like the isolated imposter. This person is nervous about their first day of grad school because they don't know if they deserve to be there. They spend way too much time on the wrong things and not enough time on the things that will actually help pass their classes and finish their research. They eventually figure it out, but they're walking to the goal. But then we have another grad student who's driving in a car. This is the overwhelmed researcher. They're scouring the internet to piece together any information about grad school just so they can be prepared and know what to expect. And they're going to become a grad boss too. They're going faster than the isolated imposter because they're in the car. But there's another option. You can fly there. You can get in a plane like the confident grad boss, learning exactly what to expect in your specific grad program, identifying the right people to help you, and creating a realistic plan for your first semester. All right, so let me know in the chat, how do you plan on becoming a grad boss? Are you walking there? Are you driving there? Or are you flying in the plane? Let me know in the chat. How are you becoming a grad boss? Haley says, let's fly. Yes, I want you to fly as well. All right, so this is the question I just asked. Which vehicle? Haley's flying. Is anybody else flying with Haley? All right, so who is ready to learn what to expect in your first semester so that you don't have to feel anxious about starting grad school? Let me know in the chat, me, if you are ready to go through the Grad Boss method. Melanie says me. Haley says me. Yes. Let's do it. Okay, so here is the Grad Boss method. There are 4 steps. Number 1, the first step is to uncover grad school secrets. Then step 2, we are going to transform your mindset. Number 3, we're going to uplevel your productivity. And number 4, we are going to master time management. And that is how you become a grad boss, even before your first semester starts. Okay, so step 1, uncover grad school secrets by learning about the culture of grad school. Let's do it. So when we don't understand the culture of grad school, we second guess everything. And so when you're second guessing everything you do, that's what makes you feel anxious about speaking up in class, sending an email, meeting with professors, making friends, your work ethic, or even worse, standing up for yourself. And these are all things that you're going to have to do as a grad student. So ignorance is not bliss. You feel like you're walking on eggshells because you want to be respectful, but you at the same time you don't know what's appropriate because you don't know the culture of grad school. So what we want to do is shake off that anxiety from second guessing yourself and replace it with the grad boss method. All right, we are going to be like Lonnie, the grad boss. Okay, so here's what you need. You need to learn the lingo of grad school. So, what are the words we're using in our department? You also need to know the expectations of a grad student in your specific program. And you also have to understand the interpersonal politics, like what's up with these professors? Why do they have different titles? Why do some of them work with grad students and some of them don't? And so, when you understand these 3 things, that is going to give you that grad boss confidence. So you can feel like you can navigate the whole grad school experience. All right, so with Grad Boss Confidence, you will have no trouble speaking up in class or confidently sending an email, meeting with your professors, making friends, trusting your work ethic, and standing up for yourself because you know what is right and what is not in grad school. All right, so I really like this quote. As is our confidence, so is our capacity. And you need a lot of capacity in grad school, so you have to be very confident in grad school. So you cannot prepare for grad school without knowing what to expect. Okay, so meet Catherine. Catherine actually lives in Hawaii, therefore, the ocean is behind her. She is a PhD student in linguistics. And here is something that she sent me in a message, and she let me share this with you. She says, "Hi, Toyin. I wanted to swing by and thank you for letting me be so involved in the academic society this past year. Seeing Alice's post, which I'll share with you later, today about her grades, she crushed it, and how we played a part actually made me kind of emotional. Last summer, when I was at one of the lowest points in my life and felt like I didn't have any options or support, I stumbled upon your group. You sent me some on point advice, and wow, so much has changed since then. I now feel empowered to make decisions about my life in grad school that are right for me. I have more clarity about how I want to spend my time and the kind of professional I'm growing to be. And I've been able to extend the support that I so badly needed to others and actually make an impact on their own journeys. My advisor told me yesterday that my collaborator raved about my new project at the student evaluation meetings, and I couldn't imagine getting to this point where I'm so excited about my future, so supported and encouraged to reach my goals, and constantly learning so much without this group and all the energy, time, effort, enthusiasm, and kindness you put into it. Thank you." So Catherine was at her lowest point and she was able to turn it around. Do you see the confidence she had just by knowing a little bit more about grad school and feeling more supported? And whenever I read these testimonials, I get a little emotional about it. So I always try not to cry. So that's why I read slowly. Okay, number two thing we need to do for the Grad Boss method is to transform your mindset through self discovery and self care practices. So when we don't transform from our undergraduate mindset to our grad school mindset, that's when we feel like imposters. And so, we always say like all grad students experience imposter syndrome. Yes, however, it's not a badge of honor. We don't actually want to feel imposter syndrome. So what we're going to do is take off that imposter syndrome badge and replace it with the Grad Boss method. And so I want you to have a Grad Boss growth mindset. And here is how you do it. You are going to build a toolkit for overcoming imposter syndrome, kind of like that exercise that we went through before. Also, you're going to denounce isolation. You're going to build a social community. You're going to build relationships with your professors, your advisor, as well as fellow grad students. Next one's very important. You are going to create a self-care plan. Also, you're going to learn to trust yourself and advocate for yourself. That self advocacy is very important. And like sometimes, unfortunately, their grad students aren't treated the most fairly. So you may have to advocate for yourself. And my mom always talks about this. She was like, you actually got so many things changed when you were in grad school. I remember when we were teaching, we used to get our teaching assignments like a day or two before the semester started. I was like, how can we actually teach a class without knowing what class we're going to teach, but more than a day ahead of time? And so I mentioned that. And from then on, we started learning about our teaching assignments way ahead of time. And so you can actually find exactly who to talk to change things in your program. So advocating for yourself, important. All right, so I like this quote: "The single most important factor in influencing a person's success, whether personal or professional, is mindset." And that is very true in grad school. Mindset accounts for the primary distinction between those who succeed in grad school and those who do not. It is probably one of the most important things in the grad school experience is your mindset. So I want you to meet Alice, who I mentioned before. She is actually getting her PhD in neuroscience. I know, so impressive. Okay, so Alice posted this in my Facebook group. She says, "Some encouragement for y'all today. This time last year, I found out I had not passed the class I needed for my program. My GPA was garbage, my mental health was not good, and I was having a lot of issues personally. I really considered dropping out of my graduate program. I even started looking for jobs that I could do with my bachelor's degree. Today, I have a great GPA. I have presented at an international conference. My therapist is proud of my progress. And I finally got my cells to express virus today for an experiment I've been doing for 6+ months. And she encourages everyone, you can do it. Grad school is tough, but you are tougher. Don't let bad classes or failed experiments or rejections stop you from achieving your goals. You can do it, friends. It gets emotional here because I know so many grad students want to quit, but you can change things and you can turn things around with your mindset, just like Alice did, and now she's encouraging others. All right, the third step in the Grad Boss method is to uplevel your productivity with daily routines and accountability. Okay, so once you understand the culture of grad school and shift your mindset, then what do you do day to day as a grad student? Well, you got readings, you got assignments, you got research, seminars, conferences, advisor or supervisor meetings. It's a lot. It's a lot to manage and keep up with. And that's what brings around this overwhelm, which causes you to procrastinate. And so I kind of talk about this procrastination burnout cycle, right? So once you kind of get a month into grad school, you start to feel a little bit over it, not as excited as you were because you're tired. And so you'll get an assignment and you don't feel like working on it. So you procrastinate. But because you procrastinate, you have to work on it all in the last minute. So you have to work for a long period of time. And working for so long with no breaks is going to cause you to burn out. And so after experiencing that burnout, when you get to your next assignment, you remember the burnout and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to feel this again. So you avoid your assignment and you procrastinate and the cycle continues. All right, so I think it's really crucial to create a Grad Boss schedule. So I'm going to talk about how to create a productive weekly schedule that includes me time. This is so important to prevent the burnout. Yes, Haley says me time, yes. So there are three main steps. And so the first step is just to create a weekly schedule with fixed tasks. So I like to think of fixed tasks as things you always do every single week at the same time. So that could be taking your classes, having meetings, or teaching whatever classes. I always like to put that on my schedule first. And then I actually go in and add the me time. Even before I put in time to work on my assignments, put in the me time, because when you get busy, the me time is the first thing to go. And I like to think of me time as non-negotiables. These are the things I need to help me feel like me, to help me refresh and decompress. So I include workout classes, going to church. I have Star Trek Discovery down there because me and my friends would watch that together. So put in the me time on the planner is second. So Amber says, love that me time is always the last thing I plan. Yes. Oh, and you like that show too. Yes, Star Trek Discovery is great. Okay, then we put in the productivity chunks. So that's step 3. So what are productivity chunks? This is where you actually implement your goals. And I actually don't like to schedule everything by name. I don't like to say, all right, at 1 o'clock, I'm going to do this specific thing. And at 2 o'clock, I'm going to do this specific thing. When I'm just planning out for the whole semester, I just like to find times where I can be productive. And I found that when I do try to schedule every little thing, it kind of leads to disappointment and failure because I don't get to do all of the things. However, if I just say I'm going to be productive and I am productive, I've been successful. And so also it kind of leaves room for spontaneity. You'll find that in grad school, you'll have all great intentions and plans to work on something, but then you'll get an email that will take you away from what you're working on. So we have room for flexibility here. All right, so I mentioned productivity chunk. What is that? It's a block of time that you have dedicated to being productive. And so I like to find either 2 to 5 hour blocks in my schedule where I can get really focused on my work with no distractions. Okay, so after the first few weeks of grad school, like I mentioned, you may find yourself drained, unmotivated, and a little unfocused. That's normal. That's where you'll need the Grad Boss Productivity Accelerator method. All right, so that combines planning, accountability, and follow through. What I've found is that students love to plan, love to set goals. but somehow they don't actually follow through on the plans and the goals. And that's because they're missing a crucial piece, the accountability. I think you need all three of these things to achieve grad boss productivity. So, productivity doesn't just happen, but it is essential for grad school success. So, how do we do that? All right, so let's meet Laura. So, Laura is a master's student in psychology. She's actually a mom of two as well. And Laura says, Toyin has taught me so much about managing my time to become more productive. I've learned how to prioritize my to-do list based on my larger goals for the semester and how to work in productivity chunks. Before this program, I often worked at the last minute and was extremely overwhelmed by my workload. Toyin's guidance has made things so much more manageable, and I'm definitely much more consistently productive with way less stress. This has been especially helpful with all of the online learning happening this year. Thanks so much. All right, so we want to, keywords here, prioritize to-do lists and also work in productivity chunks. And we want to make things more manageable. All right, last thing we need to know for the Grad Boss method is to master time management by scheduling time for work and play. All right, so I kind of like to think of grad school as a ship that we want to keep afloat. And so on our ship, we have all of these things that we're trying to manage: readings, papers, advisor meetings, seminars, making friends, work, nurturing relationships, family, self-care. That is a lot going on this grad school ship. And I believe that time management is the number one skill that will help you keep your grad school ship afloat. And so I believe there are two ways to improve your time management skills. Number one is mastering prioritization. Not everything has the same level of importance. And then number two is creating a daily structure. You'll find that in grad school, you got to have to build the structure for yourself. And so creating a daily structure that includes work and me time and rest time is crucial to being able to manage your time. So we want to optimize where, when, and how you work best. So imagine this. You wake up each morning as a new grad student knowing exactly what you'll work on for the day and how long each task will take. You know exactly which tasks are most important and which tasks to spend the most energy on. You work on high-level tasks when you're most productive, not when you're feeling drained. You have created a schedule that optimizes when and how you work best, a schedule that prioritizes your most important and impactful tasks. How many of us want a schedule like that? You don't want to waste time working on the wrong things that don't really matter. And so it's important to figure out, well, what things matter most. Okay, so imagine this. You're able to keep your grad school ship afloat. All right, so mastering time management is very important because it's super helpful in grad school. It helps to improve your self-discipline, which you need. It increases your quality of work. It reduces stress. It enhances your decision-making abilities. It helps you nurture personal relationships. It lets you get more work done, reduces missed opportunities, and helps you maintain a positive growth mindset. All of this just from being able to manage your time well. So I want you to meet Mary. Mary got her master's in sustainable development practice. All right, so Mary says there are so many moving pieces in grad school, and I was trying to take every opportunity presented to me, and you may feel the same as a grad student, becoming overwhelmed with research, work, and my academics. I got into this cycle of burning out regularly. The resources Toyin created for the Academic Society helped me figure out what I need to be prioritizing according to my main responsibilities and my values. Toyin's planner helped me create a solid structure each week where I could put in self-care care and me time to prevent and stop the cycle of burnout. I wish I would have discovered Toyin's resources so much earlier in grad school. And that is the thing that I hear from grad students all the time. They wish they had found me before they started grad school or at the very beginning of their grad school experience, so they did not have to like stumble first and then find me and then get it together. Like, what if you could like get it together from the beginning? So, if you take away one thing, I want you to know that you can learn what to expect without being anxious about starting grad school. And if you want to take away another thing, you don't have to make the same typical first year mistakes that most grad students make. You don't have to. You can, but you don't have to. You can become a grad boss. So, grad boss is a word that I made up. So, I decided to define it for you. A grad boss is a grad student who has figured out how to balance grad school and real life. They are productive, but they also have a social life. They build a community around them and they help others. Who wants to be a grad boss? Oh, Haley says, you're in luck that you found me. I'm so glad. So the big question now is, how can you apply this method to prepare for your first semester of grad school? You have two options, right? You could be Lisa. Lisa starts grad school with no preparation. She doesn't learn the culture of grad school or shift from an undergraduate mindset to a grad school mindset. She never learns additional time management and productivity skills. She's winging it on her first day of grad school. And so she makes the typical first year mistakes and has to recover from them. Also, the other option, you could be Lonnie. Lonnie takes the time to learn exactly what grad school is about. She learns the expectations of a grad student for her specific program. She spends time learning new time management and productivity skills, and she's confident on her first day of grad school. She avoids the typical first year mistakes and becomes a grad boss. So it is time for you to stop worrying about grad school and start preparing for grad school. It's time for you to follow a method that takes the guessing out of what to expect from grad school. And that is exactly why I created my grad school prep course for all of the students who just don't really know what to expect from grad school and want to figure out, well, how do I avoid all of these mistakes and these stumbles that it seems like every grad student goes through? And how do I recover from things? Like, how do I handle all of this? So grad school prep is for grad students who have just been accepted and would love to know a little bit more about grad school and go through the grad boss method. So let me explain more about grad school prep. Oh, and Umar has to leave. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so what I want to do is give you a bird's eye view of what you will get immediate access to if you decide to enroll in grad school prep. All right, so here are the three parts inside of grad school prep. We got the grad boss method, we got some worksheets and workshops, as well as that fast action bonus that I mentioned earlier. All right, so first you got Uncover Grad School Secrets. So this is the method that builds your grad boss confidence by teaching you the lingo of the academic world, clarifying the expectations of a grad student so you don't have to wait to finally hear from your department, and also by giving you the tools to navigate the interpersonal politics of grad school so that you understand the culture in your department. Also, you'll be able to transform your mindset by overcoming imposter syndrome using repeatable mindset techniques, improve your study habits to produce higher level work, learn the tools and resources for advocating for yourself, also denounce isolation in your first year and build lasting relationships that are so important. Also part of the Grad Boss method, up-level your productivity. So the Grad Boss Productivity Accelerator method that teaches you to set realistic goals, set accountability measure, and gets you to follow through on all of your plans to reach your goals. And master time management. So it will help you recognize which tasks and assignments are a top priority, and this is a skill that can be learned. Always know what to what to work on and how long each task takes. Never feel like you don't have time for yourself, and turn in masterful assignments on time. So, this is all part of the Grad Boss method that you will get immediate access to with grad school prep. All right, then we also have some worksheets and workshops that you'll get access to. All right, so here are some templates and worksheets that I have available inside of grad school prep. So we got scripts for setting up meetings with professors. So if you don't know how to email professors, I got the scripts for you. Also, advisor supervisor meeting template. So all of my meetings with my advisor were amazingly productive, and he never felt like I wasn't doing my part. And I put it all together in a template that you can use to meet with your advisor. We got a grad school budget spreadsheet, a weekly planning template, and a self-care checklist. And also a bonus workshop that I'm so excited about. I don't know if you have met Dr. Emily Roberts. She is a podcaster. Her podcast is called Personal Finance for PhDs, and she has so graciously added this workshop to grad school prep. And I sat through the workshop when she was giving it live, but it's amazing. But if you're worried about starting grad school on the right foot financially, there are steps that you can take right now to secure your financial success during and following grad school. And that is exactly what she talks about in her workshop called Set Yourself Up for Financial Success in Grad School. And so in the workshop, she talks about finding funding, moving expenses, budgeting, financial goals, and even taxes. Like she even goes through the whole cycle of before grad school, this is what you should do. In your first semester, this is what you should do. In your second semester, this is what you should do. In the summer, this is what you should do financially. And so you'll leave with a list of concrete action steps to take and pitfalls to avoid, whether you are currently applying or recently started grad school. All right, so that is a wonderful workshop that she has given to grad school prep. I'm just so happy about it. So that is what you'll also get immediate access to. And then also, I have a grad school survival bundle. So I wrote a book called #GradBoss, a grad school survival guide. And so in the grad school survival bundle, you'll get the ebook version of it. You'll also get these 22 email templates that every grad student will need to write, like emails throughout your whole grad school experience. I have templates for you, as well as Trello board templates. So that's an organizational tool that you can organize your whole life in grad school, and you'll get that as part of grad school prep. And so I told you I wrote the book Grad Boss. Here's a nice little testimonial from the book. Someone said on Twitter, reading Grad Boss by Dr. Toyin Ali, what a great discovery, full of actionable advice and free resources for getting organized and having your priorities straight in grad school. Check it out. So you'll get the ebook version of that. And then finally, that fast action bonus that I mentioned. So remember the free bonus, our online learning management plan. So achieving grad school success the healthy way. So basically, I teach you how to organize and manage all your online classes, because I know that can be really scary to go into grad school plus doing it online. All right, so inside of that, you will learn exactly what to do to get organized and prepare for your online classes. You will know what to do after your first day to stay organized and on top of assignments, and then how to build a productive weekly schedule specifically for an online class. And then also I'll help you set up accountability measures to keep you on track. So all of this is part of grad school prep that you can get immediate access to. And this is a value of over $1,970. But of course, that is not how much the program costs. All right, so it's just a fraction of that. $197. So the doors are officially open for grad school prep. And Caitlin, I see Caitlin has put a link for it in the chat. So if you're interested in joining, you will get the Grad Boss method, all the worksheets and workshops, all the parts of the Grad Boss method, as well as the online learning management and success plan. All right, so let's go through like the breakdown of the cost of the program. So there are two ways that you could purchase the program. You could do a one-time payment of $197, or if you would prefer, you can do three monthly payments of $77. Both give you the exact same thing. The only difference is that if you do the one-time payment, you save 20%. So either payment plan, you will get the Grad Boss method, you will get the financial success workshop, you will get worksheets and templates that I mentioned before. You will uncover grad school secrets, transform your mindset, up-level your productivity, master time management. You'll get that grad school survival bundle and the online management and success plan. All right, so the question isn't whether this program will prepare you for grad school. It is how confident will you feel knowing that you are prepared for the journey ahead? So I would love to know in the chat. Okay, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much more confident do you feel about starting grad school after this training? So if you compare how you felt before today and now, how much more confident do you feel? Let me know in the chat. Oh, Amber says, this is already so helpful. As soon as I get accepted, I am purchasing this program. Fingers crossed you will be accepted. Haley's at an 8. Oh, I love that. Awesome. How much more confident do you feel? All right, so my goal for this masterclass today is just to empower you to walk into this new life journey with confidence. I want you to become a grad boss. Oh, Haley says, I've purchased because that mindset, I've been accepted into grad school. Yes. So if you joined grad school prep today, how much more confident would you feel about starting grad school? All right, so remember Catherine, who was at one of the lowest points in her life, but she joined the academic society and was able to turn it around. Someone was raving about her research project, and now she's helping other grad students. Then we had Alice, who struggled with her GPA and mental health, but she got her mindset together and is now also encouraging other grad students. Her therapist was proud of her progress, and she's seeing results in her research. And then we got Laura, who is a single mother of 2, and she is managing her time. And she says she's much more consistently productive with way less stress being in grad school with 2 children. And then, of course, there's Mary, who was trying to do all of the things in grad school and realized, okay, you need to start prioritizing, figuring out what your main responsibilities are, and managing your time. And she said she wished she had discovered these resources much earlier in grad school. All right, so the commonality with these students is that they worked with me after stumbling in grad school. So imagine if you mastered the culture, the mindset, the productivity, and the time management of grad school before your first semester. All right, so that is what grad school prep is all about. So if you're interested in joining grad school prep, you can go to the academicsociety.com/grad boss, and I'll ask Caitlin to put the link in the chat again, just so it's readily available for you. And this is kind of what it looks like inside. We got video lessons and like all of the other lessons on the side that you can just go through at your own pace. All right, there is a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you do all of the work and submit proof and you still don't feel prepared for grad school, which you will be prepared for grad school, but we will give you your money back in 30 days. Okay, so you can get started for $197 or $77 and get all of the things, including the fast action bonus if you purchase today within the next 15 minutes. And so if you are starting your grad program in the next few days, you may want to go through the fast action bonus first, just so you can prepare yourself for your online classes and then go through the rest of the program. But I would like to, so the masterclass has ended, but I would like to take whatever questions you have, whether it's grad school questions or about grad school prep for the next 15 minutes or so. And yeah, thank you all so much for attending. And I hope that this was really, really helpful for you and you feel more confident about starting grad school. So, a common question that I do get is how long does it take to go through the program? It takes about a week, I would say. Like, if you devoted about 2 hours a day, you can get through all of the content and be prepared for grad school in about a week. There's about, I would say, 8 to 10 hours of like video content, but there's also like worksheets and like planners and all of the things inside. But if you pushed, you could do it in 3 days, but I would recommend about a week. Amber says, thank you so much. This was already so helpful. Awesome. So happy to help. If you would like to know when you would get access to the content that I've mentioned here, it would be immediately. So as soon as you purchase, you can dive right in and go through grad school prep and the Grad Boss method. Oh, you're so welcome, Haley. Thank you, Melanie. Yes, and good luck to everyone. Does anyone have any questions for me? And also, thank you, Caitlin, for being here and being my assistant. This was amazing. It made it so much easier for me. Chauvin needs to leave now. Hope to check the rest of the video. Oh, yeah, so this is the very end. So you have seen all of the things. Thank you, Toby. Oh, Haley, I just got the notification that you purchased grad school prep. Awesome. I'm so excited for you. Um, Sylvia, I'm already in project management for academics. What is the difference? Yes. So, grad school prep is more for new grad students. So, new students who really want to get a head start and like not stumble in the first semester. Project management for academics, I would say, is for grad students who are a little more experienced and who have more responsibilities. So, like if you're in grad school and maybe you have teaching responsibilities, or maybe you're a grader and you have a family and a job, like if you have a lot of things going on, then that is really what project management for academics is. It's more of a organize your life and plan type of thing. But grad school prep is more of prepare yourself for the experience of grad school. So I hope that helped, Sylvia. Haley's excited. I'm excited for you too, Haley. All the things. Oh, let me tell you, there's one thing that I put in grad school prep. There is a glossary. I mean, I'm really proud of my glossary. So all these like grad school terms and words that you have to know, and you're like, what does all this mean? Everyone's using all these fancy words. I have a glossary for you so you can get the definition immediately. All right, so I wrote a list of frequently asked questions. So a question you may have is, how do I know if I'm a right fit for the program? I would say if you have not started grad school yet, you are a right fit for the program. If you have already started grad school, it's likely that you have already stumbled and learned from your stumbles. And so I think you would probably be okay with not joining the program if you are already in grad school. But if you have not started grad school and you want to avoid some little stumbles here and there and not get the bad GPA in the first semester, or get it incomplete like I did in the first semester, then definitely join grad school prep. Another question would be, do I get lifetime access? Yes. Once you're in, you have all of the information forever. And so, what I like to tell people is I highly recommend going through all of the content before you start your grad program. But the way it's set up is that as you reach different milestones in your program, you're going to want to go back and review some of those lessons that are relevant to your life once you get there in your program. All right, so do you have to buy the program right now? No, you do not. However, if you want the fast action bonus of the online learning management and success plan, you can only get that now. Also, if you're watching the replay, I will make sure that you can get access to the fast action bonus on the first replay page. So if you're watching it for the first time, you can receive the fast action bonus. All right, any questions for me? Any grad school questions or grad school prep questions before we go? I'm a little over our hour time. Caitlin, do you have any questions for me? Caitlin has no questions. All right. Well, if there are no further questions, I will just sit here and wait. I'll wait until about 15 after, just to give everyone a chance to like digest all the things. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. All right. Lori, do you have any final questions? Oh, here you are. You do have a question. Does your master's GPA matter that much when you're applying for a PhD? So what I like to think about is it's like the only thing that matters is the step before what you're applying for. So for example, when you're in elementary school, going to high school, that GPA, maybe it matters. But when you're going in from high school to college, everything you did in elementary school doesn't matter anymore. And when you go from college to grad school, everything you did in high school doesn't matter anymore. So I would say it does matter when you're going from master's to PhD. However, if you have work experience in between, maybe the work will outweigh what your master's GPA was. Also, really good letters of recommendation can really help in your personal statement. So I would say for applying for PhD, your master's GPA is part of the puzzle, but it is by no means the whole thing. I hope that answered what you were looking for. If not, please let me know. I'm like looking down because I'm looking at my laptop for the chat. Yes. Okay. Awesome. Do you have any other questions for me, Lori? No, that's it for now. Yeah, you're so welcome. All right. Well, that is all for now. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting, but thank you so much for joining and good luck with your grad school and have a wonderful day.